All right, so we got our graph problem. This is all about knowing, first and foremost, that if you're asked for the derivative of a function, we are talking about the slope of that function at a particular point, which is why these little questions that have these little piecewise linear segments are really nice, because we can actually find those slopes really easily instead of estimating them. So we want g prime of -3, so we need to find -3 on our g graph. It threw off a lot of you that this was not at a straight point like on our graph, so you tried to do like your rise over run from that point, which is a disaster. A line segment has the same slope no matter which 2 points you choose. So coming over and deciding to choose points that actually hit our lattice here, our XY grid, is the right choice. And then we can see we rise 1 as we run 3. So we have a rise over run of 1/3, definitely a positive slope. So I had a lot of 1/4, a lot of 4s. I think some folks might have gone to the F graph instead of the G graph. But for the most part, the most common mistake I saw was students trying to find the slope from this point by estimating where it was, which is a bad choice to try to find slopes when you're estimating. Since that was short, let's go ahead and do 6 as well. 6 is our chain rule, very obviously, almost written exactly as it is on our formula sheet. We know, first step, we should probably take the derivative of these functions before we even evaluate at a particular point. So we just go ahead and rewrite this using our chain rule, and then we can go ahead and apply this, that we are looking for x -1. All right, so here's where a lot of big conceptual mistakes happen. Like I'm saying, huge conceptual mistakes. And I maybe should have docked even more points for them, but I have to talk about it. In fact, I'll make sure to put this video in our announcements because this was such an important idea. I'll probably still talk about it on Wednesday. Oh my gosh, I did not replace these with -1s. I was just so busy complaining. All right, so when we come over here to the -1, we can see that f of -1 is 3. And we can see the slope at that particular moment is 0. Right? There's no rise happening at all. We have a horizontal line, which means we have a slope of 0. Now, at this point, you could have just done this and written that this is equal to 0, because anything times 0 is 0. I mean, provided it exists, I guess. What happened, though, is a lot of people then went ahead and said, okay, well, I now need g of 3. And they came over here and said, okay, well, here's g of 3. I'm not actually sure what they did. I think some people came down here and found this g at -1 instead of following this over. But what you should have done is come over here. That's what the composition is saying. It's not saying multiply those two together. That was the most common mistake I saw, was a lot of students doing some sort of multiplication here, which shows you don't understand what that function notation is even doing, that it's not multiplication, right? We now have a new thing. We're now looking for the slope at this new point at 3. And we're saying, oh, I need to find the slope of this, which I can see is a -1/2. So if you had some number there other than a -1/2, you lost a point. If you made it clear in your work that you were doing multiplication here, I saw a lot of 2 times 3s times 0s. Even though your answer was correct, you communicated that you did not understand the function notation and you lost 2 points. But it was such an error that I think it was worth mentioning here. That function notation, we're not multiplying there, and there's no reason to ever look at the slope of g of -1 because we never had anything to do with our g graph with that input of x is equal to -1, because its input is f of -1. Which is actually 3.